Welcome to the Insurance Revolutionized podcast brought to you by Success Without Sacrifice. I am your host and coach, Cheree, and here on the podcast, we are on a mission to revolutionize the way women in insurance do business. We will be interviewing women who are changing the face of insurance, as well as giving you tips and inspiration to grow your agency to new heights without sacrificing what is most important to you. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Insurance Revolutionized podcast this week. I'm your host and coach, Cheree, and today we're going to be talking about the RAMP method and specifically what that is. And I want to really dive into each of the seasons and what this looks like. I've talked about the RAMP method. I've mentioned it in several episodes, but I want to give you a snapshot of what this actually is and how you can apply it to your life and to your business. So RAMP is an acronym. It stands for Rest, Align, Master, Peak. And it's really a way to help female business owners create a better work-life balance. It gives you a framework because work-life balance can feel intangible. And so the RAMP method gives a way for this to be a really tangible way for you to create better work-life balance for yourself and for your team. So I'm going to be talking about each specific season within the RAMP method and what this looks like and what you should be thinking about in each season and how you really can apply this to your life and to your business. So RAMP stands for Rest, Align, Master, Peak. So the RAMP method was really created from my background of working with high-performing athletes for 14 years. I have a master's degree in sports psychology, but then I became a stay-at-home mom and I experienced burnout. I experienced burnout in my career, and then I became a business owner and I experienced burnout again. And I realized that there was a missing gap in the marketplace to really help women be able to balance both their businesses and their lives. And because of my background of working with athletes and sports training, I saw that in sports, there was this really effective research-proven method that works to help athletes become Olympic gold medalists. And I thought, if that works, if that helps athletes, because athletes are very similar to business owners. Mindset-wise, a lot of business owners were athletes. So if you're listening to this, you might resonate, whether that's a traditional sport or a non-traditional sport, right? There is a certain level of training that you have to do. There's goals that you have to hit. You need a certain amount of rest, and you need certain nutrition and exercise, and there's certain things that you need to be able to hit your goals, just like in business. So I thought, if this works in the athletic world, and it's worked for years and years and years, and it's been proven to work, why can't we just apply this to the business world, right? So that's really where the RAMP method was created. This is something that I created. This is our proprietary method that we use here at Success Without Sacrifice. So the RAMP method is a holistic approach to help you get both your life, your business, and your leadership in alignment with what's important to you. It's a mind-body connection approach. It also uses sports psychology, meaning mindset, to simply put that. And we'll talk more about mindset. I'm not going to get into a lot of that in this episode, but there is a certain mindset that you have to, one, be a successful business owner, but also so you can be a successful business owner who is living a fulfilled life. Okay, so that's really our goal with the RAMP method, is to help business owners already take what's working really well and look at what's not working very well, and get the two of those to balance out. So the other thing that's really important here is to really understand the RAMP method is to help you protect your time and your energy. Um, and that's really kind of what it comes down to. So the R stands for rest, and the rest phase is the equivalent to the off season or the rest season in sports. So, in sports, rest is really important. Rest actually helps propel athletes forward. Their bodies need to physically rest in order for them to perform at their best. If they don't get enough rest, it will actually decrease their performance. They will start to get injuries, and it's they need rest. They 100% need rest. Now, that doesn't mean that they are doing nothing in their rest season. It simply means there's no competition, the intensity is really low, and they're doing things that are fun. So if they're a basketball player, they're maybe doing pickup games and they're still working on their skills, they're still lifting. It's just not at the same intensity as they would be if they're in their competition season. You still have to they still need to actively move their bodies. So in business, the rest phase, this is your slow season of your business. This is where you can be really intentional with your time on and off the clock. So I want you to think when I talk about rest, I mean mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual rest. So in this season, this slow season, this is a great time for you to prioritize your family, your friends, your relationships, team building, having fun in life, just fun in general, whether that's with your business and your team, or that's in your life, right? As high achievers, high performers, we get caught up a lot of times in the to-do lists and the demands of life and business that we forget how to have fun. I remember a time where um, I realized that I didn't know how to have fun. I would sit down and play a game with my kids, but I wasn't really having fun. I didn't even know how to do that anymore. Um, so the rest season, this is a really great time for team building, for client appreciation, um, doing things that you really enjoy and really investing in your family and your friends and your relationships. Because in your busy season, you don't have as much time for that. And that's where women struggle with the guilt of, mom guilt and guilt of, um, working so much that they don't take care of themselves, and right. So this is a really good time to focus on self-care. It's a good time to reflect on, what went well, what didn't go well. This is not the time for business growth. Okay. So a lot of times what we find is people get into their slow season and they go right into, okay, what can we do now to bring in more revenue, right? There's this level of fear and anxiety of, but we're not making as much money, so are we going to be able to pay the bills? Are we going to be able to pay your team? And your brain goes into this fear mode. And when you start to make decisions based out of fear, that is not going to equate to desired results, right? You want to make sure that you're making decisions from a place of peace and confidence. And and also in the rest season, the reason that we talk about this not being a time for business growth, and especially in the insurance industry, is because it's slow for a reason. People are not in the buying mindset of whatever insurance line of insurance you're in. Okay. So let's say you're in health insurance, right? There's a time when there's open enrollment. You can't force people to buy outside of that. Even in property and casualty, there's going to be certain busy seasons. And the reason is because people are in that mindset. Same thing for real estate, right? There's a reason that wintertime is slower. Nobody wants to be out and looking at houses and moving. It happens, but it's slower. So the rest season, you get to take that slow season instead of pushing and figuring out how you can grow, allow for rest. It doesn't mean you're shutting down your business. It doesn't mean you're doing nothing. It just means the intention in that season is for everybody to slow down and to rest and refuel before moving back into the busy season. So A stands for align. So the aligned phase, this is equivalent to the preseason in sports. So In sports, this season is really designed to help athletes build up their foundational skills. So, free throws, working as a team building, team culture, um, getting really specific on the nitty gritty skill set that they need in order to be successful. So, this is building up their skills to move into the competition phase. In the business world, I like to equate this to the season to evaluate and assess what's working well, what's not working well. What do your busy seasons look like, and predicting what kind of support and help are we going to need in our busy season. So, um, a lot of times people wait until the busy season to hire, and then that just becomes more chaotic. So if you can look ahead and know, like, oh, okay, yeah, we know that this is busy and this is the type of support, it's allowing yourself to really evaluate and assess um, what kind of help that you're going to need, what kind of support are you going to need. So think team building, goal setting, creating systems, strategies, getting your marketing plan in place, networking, hiring. This is the time to do this in the online phase. And then your priorities. This is when you're going to plan and prep to create a solid foundation before moving into the next two highly active phases. So your priority in the aligned phase is to plan and prep, to evaluate, to assess, to get your boundaries aligned with your values and your priorities, and then to strategize and set goals to get there. This is not, so the aligned phase, again, you're not really pushing for revenue. This isn't going to be a revenue growth phase, right? Maybe it's starting to pick up and get a little bit busier. Yes, you can be out networking and doing those types of things. But again, this isn't really the revenue growth phase of your business. It's going to be one of the slower phases of your business. So then the M stands for master. So the master phase is the equivalent to the in season in sports. So the in season, this is where competition starts. So the preseason is just the team by themselves, but they're not competing. And then you move into the in season. This is the competition phase. So in sports, this is when they're starting to compete against other teams. Their mindset becomes really important because sports and business, it's 80% mindset and 20% skill and strategy. So a basketball player at the free throw line, imagine a basketball player at the free throw line, the pressure is on. It's all about mindset. Yes, skill set. Yes, they've practiced and it's muscle memory doing that free throw over and over, but it really comes down to mindset. It comes down to tuning out the noise of the crowd and getting focused on what you can control. That basketball player cannot control whether or not that basket goes in. That basketball player cannot control the outcome of the game. They can't control if they win or lose. All they can control is the positioning of their body. They can get their feet lined up. They can get their hands lined up. They can focus on their follow through. That they can control. They can't control the outcome. When they try to control the outcome, when we as business owners try to control the outcome, that is where we get into trouble. That is where stress starts to overtake our body because we are trying to control the outcome. We cannot control the outcome. You can't control whether or not somebody chooses to go through you. All you can control is how you treat that person and how you serve that person. Okay, so that's where the sports psychology aspect comes in it that I mentioned. So in the business world, the master phase, this is the start of your busy season where other priorities are intentionally removed from your calendar to make more space for ramping up business activities. So think mindset, calendar, marketing, growth strategy. Again, now business is starting to pick up. It's starting to become your busiest season, but it's still not the busiest season yet. Your priorities in this phase are fine-tuning and implementing systems, preparing for your busy season, training new team members. So in the line phase, hopefully you have identified that you need help. You've already starting the hiring process. Now, ideally, you have hired that person, and now you can start training them so they are ready to go in your peak phase. Again, there's no like you can get all of this like lined up, right? And stuff's going to happen and it's not always going to be perfect. but it's better than just flying by the seat of your pants and being reactive to what's happening. So it's just a way to help you be proactive, um, and create intention of what you want to do, and being proactive with your outcome, controlling what you can so that you can get the outcome you desire. And hopefully the outcome you desire is success and fulfillment and freedom and joy and having fun, right? Not just success, because success alone is not going to fulfill you. I can 100% guarantee that success alone is not going to fulfill you. I've experienced it, and every single client that I've worked with has experienced it. Okay, so the last phase, this is the peak phase. This is the equivalent to the peak season or the postseason in sports. So this is what it's all for. This is basketball players are trying to get into March Madness. Everyone's trying to get into the national tournaments. This is where Olympic athletes are going for the gold medal. Okay, tournaments are happening. Everything that they have done up to this point is to get to them to peak at this exact right time. If their training isn't done correctly, they're either going to peak too soon, they'll peak too late, or they'll experience burnout. So, in the business world, this is the growth phase of your business. Your family and your friends are probably going to take more of a back seat, but it's okay because you've just come out of a rest season and a line season where you've invested good time with them. You're still going to maintain a good balance throughout your day, your week, and your month, because part of the ramp method, it's not just looking at your year, but it's also helping you to create a ramp plan within your day, your week, and your month. So this is going to be your busiest phase. This is where you're going to be focusing on growth and income generation. It's more naturally going to be happening here, and your business is going to be your main priority. Your priority in this phase is serving your clients and your business. That's your main priority, right? You're not going to have time to do anything else. This is not the time to be hiring. It's not the time to be training if you can help it. And it's not really the time to be networking, because you don't really need to be out networking. The business is already coming to you. You should have already been out networking in your align and your master phase. Or however you grow your business. So the peak phase is really about taking care of your clients. And so really the ramp method is really just to help you put intention and purpose behind what you're doing, and helping you to reach a level of success that you want without burning yourself out, without burning your team out, and really without sacrificing yourself. Because that is typically what women do, is they end up sacrificing themselves and or the relationships. Those are usually one of the two that end up happening, but a lot of times women end up sacrificing themselves, thinking um, that that's what they need to do, thinking that they're serving everybody else by sacrificing themselves, when in reality, when you sacrifice yourself, you can't pour into everybody else. You can't be present, you can't be at the top of your game if you're sacrificing yourself. And the ramp method, the reason the ramp method helps, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but the ramp method also helps with team performance and team culture. And the reason is because it starts with you as the agency owner. When you are in a healthy place, your team is going to be in a healthy place. When you lead by example, your team is going to follow. When you demonstrate work-life balance, your team is going to follow that as well. And part of the ramp method I mentioned is the mind-body connection. And what I mean by that is really becoming aware of how your body is trying to communicate with you. So if you guys listened to the story about the Olympic swimmer, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, go back and listen to that episode. But the reason that he did not get his goal of becoming an Olympic swimmer and making the Olympic team is because he ignored the signals of his body. He pushed his body too hard, too fast, and he didn't give it enough rest, that he ended up um, it what he thought was helping him actually was detrimental to him. And we see this a lot in business owners. And this is our mission at Success Without Sacrifice is for that not to happen to you. We don't want you to reach your goal and then not be happy or fulfilled. We want to help you reach your goals and be happy and be fulfilled and really love your life. And it is possible. And if you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, right, there's no way, right? Stay tuned. You're going to hear from Lisa LeBlanc, who's going to share her story with you. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear that. If you were listening to this and you're like, okay, great, Cheree, this is awesome, but how do I actually like tangibly apply this? We invite you to hop on a discovery call with us. We'd love to chat with you about this. And or also check out our mastermind that we have coming up. It's called our Success Without Sacrifice Mastermind. The reason it's called the Success Without Sacrifice Mastermind is because that is literally the goal of the mastermind, is to help you achieve your success without sacrificing yourself or what is most important to you. We didn't name it that just because it's the name of our business. It was really intentional what we were doing with that. So we are going to be walking through the RAMP method throughout that mastermind. So it's a 4-month mastermind program where we are going to help you design each one of these seasons. We're going to look at your systems and your processes and what's working well and what's not working well, and help you really to harness the power of your female physiology, and help you and your team to implement this framework. So if that is something of interest to you, please check that out. It's a combination of one-on-one coaching and also group incubator. And the reason that we have the group incubator is because we want to have we want you to be able to connect with other agency owners who are having maybe the same struggles as you, maybe they have the same pain points, or maybe they can give advice and support in an area where you're struggling, where they are thriving, right? We all have our strengths and our weaknesses. And when we can come together and connect, there is something so magical that happens. We're also going to bring in some industry experts in different areas to help you implement the right systems and the processes and things that you need to have in place so you can continue to have success without sacrifice. So be sure to check that out. There's more information in the show notes where you can find that. And I will be back with you next week. Thank you so much for listening to the Insurance Revolutionized podcast today. We know there is a lot on your plate, so it means the world to us that you stopped in to give us a listen. We hope you will join us each week as we dive into topics such as mindset, goal setting, productivity, self-care, and so much more. We want to inspire more women to have success without sacrificing what is most important to them, and we need your help. If this podcast has inspired you, would you do us a favor? Would you take a minute to leave us a rating and a review or share with your friends? Let's change the face of insurance for women. Until next time.